In this video, we're going to learn about fill and stroke. So every object that you create will have both a fill, which will be the solid color in the middle, and then a stroke that goes on the outside. So let's go ahead and select an object and start to learn what's taking place here. So I've created these four squares here. We'll color them in different ways. I have my object selected using the selection tool. And then if you're looking at your toolbox, you're able to see that you have what is called a fill swatch and a stroke swatch. They can be turned off independently of one another. So if I don't want to have a stroke, which I'll show you in just a second, we'll turn it off. To change the color, you can do it in a couple different ways. You could use the toolbox right here with these swatches, or you could go up top to the control panel if that's visible and change the color there. You could expand this panel on the right here, and you could get access to a lot of different ways to do color. We could do it through the color panel, we could do it through the color guide, we could do the swatches panel, or you could come down and use the appearance panel. But let's start over here on the left at the toolbox and work our way around. So if I double click on the fill swatch, it will bring up the color picker, and I can work my way through and try to find the color that I like. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe just choose a yellow. We'll click OK. That still allows us to see that black stroke that's running around the outside. If I would like to change my stroke color, I could click on it and that will bring it to the front of the stack. You'll notice that it's changed everywhere. Over here, if I click on it and bring it to the front, you'll notice that it has updated on the toolbox. So it's just important to note which piece you're trying to change. So now if again, I could double click there, but let's go change it somewhere else. I could click up here and change my color. It's a little difficult to see because it doesn't have a very thick stroke to it right now. We'll come back and change that in just a second. We're going to use the strokes panel, which is over here on the right-hand side of the screen. We're looking for the appearance panel and then the words stroke. Any word in Illustrator that has dots underneath it means that there is a panel that goes with it. So if I click on the word, it'll open up a strokes panel. If I increase the weight on that, it's going to make the line thicker. I can control how things look on it. I can do the corners, I can chamfer them or bevel them. I can align it to the middle of the line. So you see how it's growing on both the inside and the outside of the overall dimension of my shape. I can move it to the inside or I can move it to the outside. But that does change the overall width and height of the shape depending on where it's going to be sitting. If you don't want a stroke on an object, you could simply click the Apply None button, and that will go away, and then you're left with just a fill. Vice versa, if you don't want a fill, you click the Apply None option. If I move that over here, you can kind of see how now I've created like this little frame that is see-through. On this box here, let's go ahead and work with gradients. To apply a gradient, you need to first locate that panel. If it is collapsed like this, you're looking for that icon. If it's open, you're going to be looking for the words gradient, and I click on it here. First, you need to figure out what you're going to be applying your gradient to. It can either be the fill or it can be the stroke. I'm going to just double click on the fill. Oops, I lied. We're going to bring the fill to the front and then click on the gradient swatch to activate it. You'll see that it has taken and put a black and white gradient inside of my container or my box. Now what I can do is I can choose if I want it to be linear, radial, or I can do a free form. A free form is where you place the dots in the document. Let's click on that again. So to change these colors, there's a couple different ways you could do it. I like to use the gradient panel. You'll notice that you've got these, what are little dots on the bottom of this color bar. These are called gradient sliders. If I double click, it'll open up a picker and I can click on the color. If I want to manually just kind of mix a color up, I can come over here and click that way. If I double click on the black dot, I could choose color this way. Not bad. Maybe want a little more contrast to this, so we'll come over and make this a little bit darker. There we go. That's a very simple left to right gradient, but if I want to change its location, I could go to the toolbar and click on the gradient tool, and at this point I can drag it any which way I want. It also gives me an annotator which I could click on and I could control on how the shape is going to blend. But that's a little bit about color.